welcome to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey!
And the Johnny Storm of this fantastic 3?
Wow. Okay. All right. I know you have been threatening to kick me off, in which case I'd be the invisible girl there, so that's fine.
No,
It's clobbering time.
No, you're the cool one, Charlie.
Do you remember
Dylan
when you told
thing.
Dylan?
Cool. Yeah.
Remember when you told him he'd be the thing at Denny's, and he got pretty upset at you?
I have that on tape.
You guys give me the worst characters.
You look a little bit like Michael Chiklis. You guys can bing it at home, and tell me that Dylan doesn't look a little bit like a young Michael Chiklis.
Very true.
I'm sure we have one thing in common.
You're the commission we. That's all it takes, man.
All right.
He's got a big beard. He's Brody. If he's bald, he's you. And if he's a weirdo, he's me.
If you haven't, let me finish my script. Got it. If you haven't already, we'd love if you subscribe so that way you can come back here every Wednesday to hang out with us and see what we're talking about. Just like this week's topic, we are doing one of our famous top 3s, and we are doing top 3 action scenes. It's pretty broad. This was just an idea. We said, hey, what about action scenes? All right, do a top 3 of them.
Yeah, there we go.
There's not a whole lot of criteria. It doesn't have to be from an action movie, I guess, even. Just as long as it's a cool action scene. How'd you guys feel about this one? Easy? Hard?
Hard. Very hard. Very, very, very hard. Picking 3 action movies out of thin air from like all movies that have ever existed. There was like a 0% chance that we were going to pick your favorites. You watching at home, there's like a 0% chance. I had to leave some huge franchises off my list, and I'll explain how I eventually narrowed my methodology down a little bit when it's my turn. But my goodness, this was one of the harder ones we've done.
Wow.
How you feel about it?
I feel quite the opposite. I went back and I looked at different sorts of. I didn't want to just do like fight scenes. I didn't want to do just martial arts or just superhero movies or things like that, or just explosions. Or I went back to things that I actually go back to and are still entertaining. And it wasn't exactly difficult to choose the action scenes because I always go back to them. I love these action scenes. These are fantastic. Still give me chills. What about you, Bro? What'd you think?
I just started thinking about action scenes that I remember really liking.
Yeah.
And so then I went back into like YouTube and I watched some of them. Some of them I was like, yeah, I think that was cooler the first time I watched it. Or maybe it was just a scene that I had kind of jumbled in my head of different things. And then I watched the scene and I was like, that's not how I remember that. So, but then I watched a couple and I was like, oh yeah, that held up. I really like that scene. That's going to make it onto my list.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, should we get started?
Yes.
You absolutely should.
So the order today is going to be me, and then Charlie, and then Tudong. Hope you got a good one, Tudong.
I have an excellent one.
I figured you would.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, my number 3 is from a movie that I remember at the time. The thing that we saw in a lot of movies were quick cuts, right? Quick cut actions. They were quick cuts. They were really close. It was a lot of times really hard to kind of follow. And this movie came out, and it was this kind of first action scene in particular where things slowed down and you got these full shots. And I remember just thinking like, oh, that's really cool. So my number 3 is 300. So I know nowadays it's kind of fun to poke fun at Zack Snyder for his slow-mo shots, things like that. But back in 2005, I think, when this came out, 2006, something, like this was so cool to watch this scene go by, and it, you track along with this guy in this particular kind of sequence, and as he goes to cut off a guy's leg or hit him with the shield, you get these slow-mo shots. And I remember just being like, oh, that is so neat to watch, and was so refreshing from the quick cuts, the quick zoom shots of, it was so close. And I remember not liking that style. And so I was so happy to have an action scene that wasn't that, where I could see the action, I could see what's going on. And it was just so fun to watch. So 300 is my pick. This is not on either of your lists.
That's true. But like you can appreciate the choreography is what you were at. That's cool. Very cool. Good pick, bro. Good pick.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
My number 3 is also not on either of your lists. And I can guarantee this because I'm still, no matter how much I try to convince you guys that you should watch this, a movie that came out in 2001, a time when the
Can I
nation was
guess?
healing.
Can I guess?
You can guess. You can guess.
Is this Shaolin Soccer?
It is Shaolin Soccer, and
What?
you guys
What are you talking
should
about?
watch it. You guys should watch it again and again and again and again. It is
Didn't
one
I
of the greatest
introduce you to
movies.
this?
No, you didn't introduce me to this.
I've
outta
watched
here.
this. I've
You've
watched
never
this
even
again
seen
and again.
this movie. Did you introduce it to me? You've never even watched it.
I've seen it a bunch of times. What are you talking?
You thought Stephen Chow's first movie was Kung Fu Hustle, man. You're like,
I never
oh, this guy's pretty good. And I was like, oh, come on now. Come on.
Yeah, I still
I
haven't
don't
seen
know
this
who
movie.
you're mistaking me for, but yeah, I've seen this a long time ago. This is a fantastic movie. This is an excellent
Well,
choice.
it's time for you,
a long time
to
ago.
rewatch. This
Yeah.
GIF doesn't even do it justice, but you can see in this GIF the blending of soccer with Shaolin Kung Fu leads to some of the greatest action sports sequences of all time.
Just catches it.
And
Yeah.
I did my list, and like I wanted to, like Dylan was talking about, I wanted to have different categories. So I wanted to have something that I just thought was fun. And this whole match against Team Evil, and they're just called Team Evil, is just some of the best, most entertaining sports martial arts combination. Not that there's a big long list of sports martial arts, but this is such a good movie, and I love sports movies, and I love martial arts movies, and so the Shaolin Kung Fu Soccer is just off the charts, and the interplay with the goalie, I mean, the whole thing is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's so well done. I look, it's 2001. Some of the visuals are a little dated, but at the time, wow, it was a visual feast. But still holds up. So if you've never seen Shaolin's, just watch it on YouTube, Brody. Just watch 8 minutes of like the best, most exciting scenes, and just call it a day.
No, Charlie. So I just binged it. Okay, this is actually streaming on Paramount Plus. So I added it to my list. I'm gonna watch this.
It's an excellent movie. It's really fun.
It's really good. It's really fun. It is subtitled, so you can't like watch it on your phone. You can't just be like scrolling the Insta while you gotta pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention.
It's worth it. You'll thank me later.
Is there an English dub?
Oh, get out!
Jeez, bro.
Dylan, look down at Brody in shame right now. Can you just...
Oh, bro.
Unreal.
Unbelievable.
All right. Dylan, hurry! Save us for number 3 before I start throwing things.
Right. My number 3 comes from Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the battle in the mines of Moria. I absolutely love this scene. This scene gets me from the beginning until the end. It keeps my heart absolutely going. They go in and it's quiet, nothing's happening. I think it was Peregrine Took messed things up, and all of these arcs start swarming. You see Gimli crying because like his relative is dead, and everybody else is scared to pieces, and they're getting ready. And then he gets up and he's like, let him come in. And there's a big battle with even a cave troll. And they're getting through there. They are running, and they are surrounded, and then everybody retreats, and you're just like, oh. And they have to run from the Balrog. They have to go over stairs that are literally breaking as they are walking on them. They have to throw some of the people because they're just not big enough to jump. They are like, you see Legolas, and you follow the arrow right into an orc's neck. It is unbelievable from start to finish. It gives me chills, and I absolutely love it. This was easy for me because it was so well done. The directing and the action, all of it. fantastic action scene.
That's a good choice.
Thank you.
A very fine choice indeed.
Right.
Thank you.
So my number 2. This I had a really hard time whether this was number 2 or number 1, because
Interesting.
it's an action scene that I remember watching in theaters and being like, I love this scene. And then I rewatched it, and then I was like, oh, this scene is still so good. But then my number 1 is like, oh, but that one's so good too. So I wound up at this, but like my number 2 and my number 1 are really close. So my number 2 is from Kick-Ass. And it's when Big Daddy is tied up, him and Kick-Ass are tied up, and Hit Girl is coming to save them. And so you've got Hit Girl going through, taking out thugs, all the while they have set Big Daddy on fire. And like, I love that as Big Daddy is burning, he's yelling out like instructions, and it's so good. And the way that Hit Girl is going through, she's got the strobe light on her gun, so she's disorienting guys, and then she sets up the strobe far away so that she can come up behind because the guys don't know where. Oh man, this scene is so good. I love this scene, and just like you feel for like Nicolas Cage in all of his Nicolas Cage-ness is like just screaming, but like you're like, oh, it's Nicolas Cage, but then it's like, oh, well, he's also like burning to death. But as he's screaming in pain, he's yelling out instructions to his daughter so that she can like get through these guys. And like, oh, such a good scene. This scene,
and she is so focused. She is so focused. It is excellently done. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. The scene before it, like with the first person view, it loses me a little bit. But like as soon as that comes off, oh gosh, this scene this was the first scene that I thought of, because this has always been like, this is one of my favorite action sequences ever. And so when we were doing this, I was like, it's got to be that. And then I built the list, and but it's so good. It could be number 1. Any given day, this could be number 1. It could be number 2. It's so good. Go watch it. Go watch this on YouTube. It's a fantastic.
I'm surprised that this is as close to, because I have a feeling I know what your number 1 is. I'm surprised this is as close to your number 1 as you're saying. But it is a great scene, and I think Nicolas Cage can stack up his getting like killed by like a random set of things while screaming, whether it's fire or bees. He can stack that up against any other actor, and nobody yells to death like Nicolas Cage.
He's got a point. That's true.
You can Bing that one, folks. Fantastic. My number 2 does not feature Nicolas Cage, although that I kind of feel like it should have at this point. I wanted to get some fisticuffs, some old-fashioned fisticuffs, into my 3. I would have gone with the Daredevil fight, the hallway fight, because it's fantastic. But that's a TV show. It's a TV show. I was told I'm not allowed to like TV on this podcast.
Can't like TV.
I'm not allowed to watch it. I'm not allowed to like it. I'm not allowed to mention it.
There's enough content for a full episode, Charlie. If we mix them, we're mixing contents. We're reducing.
I didn't even bring it up. You guys brought it up. I'm just talking about my movie. You guys keep trying to infuse TV into the conversation. Let's focus, boys. So my number 2, one of my favorite fight scenes in recent memory, because of just the sheer brutality and like the choreography, comes from Mission Impossible Fallout, and it's the bathroom scene with Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill.
That's a good fight scene.
And just people's faces getting smashed through toilet urinals, and just a brutal fight scene, and like with like the white aesthetic of the bathroom, like the and I love just like the small details, like Henry Cavill's back sweaty and just pummeling. Yeah, just the whole scene is so well shot and choreographed. It's very impressive.
Yes,
all 3 actors just completely selling out and giving 100, more than 100%. which I learned in math is possible. So it's really fun, and I wanted to pick a Mission Impossible scene because I love the franchise so much, and they've given us so many great action sequences. But I just opted for some good old fashioned fisticuffs. So this comes in for me at number 2.
And this had the
Excellent
Henry
choice.
Cavill
Excellent choice.
arm reload
Yeah.
thing.
This is the-
That was so cool. It was so awesome to watch. Because Henry Cavill's the best.
Well,
Well, I mean, Tommy does kind of beat the snot out of him by the end of the film. But you know
he
what?
actually
The only
he
thing that
kills
can make
him.
this
He
fight
kills
better
him,
is
really.
if Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise were battling Nathan Fillion in the restroom. That's where
No, that
that's
wouldn't
where
be
this
fair.
could really.
That wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair at all. You'd need a couple other people to take on Nathan Fillion because
That's true. That's true.
It's Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion.
And speaking of Nathan Fillion, my number 2 happens to be Nathan Fillion. No, I'm just kidding. My number 2 segue indeed. My number 2 comes from Avengers Infinity War. This one, I always have gone back to this, the Battle on Titan. I love this part. When I saw this in the theaters, it was fantastic. When I saw it after the theaters, whether it was on YouTube, whether it was on Disney Plus, whatever it was, it's still fantastic. This is still my favorite Marvel movie, and this is absolutely my favorite scene from there because when they are fighting Thanos, the entire time I've gone back and found other little things to find out where technically Thanos isn't exactly attacking. Everybody is attacking him except he starts going after Tony Stark. Everybody else, he's just kind of like throwing them off, or they all attack first. And I remember thinking this when you see him and he steps up to Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange, he goes in first. All of these things, but when they first see him and they trick him and they're right about to get that glove, I thought that is so cool. And then as it keeps going, I was like, this entire fight scene is fantastic. You know, Tony Stark, Iron Man. At the end when he's fighting him and when he gets stabbed in the theaters, I was like, they just stabbed Iron Man. They stabbed him. This is how they're gonna kill this beloved character, by stabbing? That is so vile. What are these kids gonna think? Their hero just got stabbed in the freaking stomach. He's dead now. Not like he's turned to ash or anything. He's been gutted almost. And it doesn't happen. It turns out okay, kind of half the universe. But I'm just saying, this entire fight scene on Titan, I have gone back and just watched because it is so fun, so entertaining, so brutal. All the punches that Spider-Man gets from Thanos. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, this is a really good one. And since I am up next for my number 1, I'm just gonna say, yeah, dude, the Marvel movies, there's so much to choose from. There's the fight on Titan. I was between a number of them because I was like, I gotta include a Marvel one someplace. Do I include Captain America with Mjolnir fighting Thanos? Do I include the airport scene?
The elevator scene in Winter Soldier. That airport scene's excellent too.
There's so much good action. But I had to go with the one that I remember watching and saying, I can't believe I'm actually watching this. And that was the big Battle of New York. You know, if you want to get specific, you could go through the tracking shot where you have 2 people at a time and one person jumps out to another person. And you're just following these heroes as you're watching them team up. You know, I like going through this whole movie, you know, because we had all these buildups of all these heroes.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking oh my goodness, we're actually going to get an Avengers movie. And then you had multiple parts throughout the movie where I was like, I can't believe that I'm actually seeing this movie happen. It actually happened. And I was just blown away. And then this whole thing happened. And you're seeing them interact and they're working as a team finally in the movie. And we're battling, you know, it was like it was watching a comic book, you know. And so this one, just because it's a great scene, but also because this was the one that really got me of oh my goodness, I'm I can't believe I'm actually watching this. This is actually
Yeah.
happening in my life, where I'm seeing these heroes interact this way and seeing these shots of, all the different people teaming up and jumping between each other, and it's just tracking it. You're tracking arrows, you're tracking Hulk with his jumps, the bad guy. It's just, there was so much to watch, and I loved it. So this one wound up as my number one because it was epic and it was just so memorable to me. So
Nice.
Battle of New York for Avengers.
I'm
That's
surprised you didn't
good.
go Endgame, but that's an excellent choice by you, sir.
Yeah, I
Very
thought
good
about
choice.
Endgame. I thought about the portal scene. There's a lot going on in the portal scene. Like
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
whole, like I said, the Captain America versus Thanos probably would have actually beat out the portal scene, because watching Captain America battle Thanos while he's holding Mjolnir and batting his shield back and forth with Mjolnir was like, whoa, but yeah,
It's cool.
yeah, no.
So for my number one, I stayed away from the MCU. I stayed away from Star Wars. I stayed away from some of the big things that I thought might end up on your guys' lists. And I went kind of with more of a nostalgia pick. From let's all hop in a time machine together, shall we?
All right, let's
Hop in my
in.
DeLorean. The doors open. The year is 2002. A young Charlie is in the movie theaters, ready, excited, geeked out, whatever you want to say. This was before Bing, so I didn't Bing movie theater times, but I would have. But I there I am, and I'm just so excited. It's opening night, and it's Two Towers, and it's Lord of the Rings, and just the most amazing battle sequence I've ever seen unfold before my eyes in Helm's Deep. It's the most intense, like, movie going experience that I'd had up until that point. Just the constant tension of who is everybody dying? Is everybody gonna die? I mean, there's people gonna die, and just the sheer scope and size of it was so impressive. And I'm a sucker for kind of like this style of battle sequence. Like I thought about there's a lot of great not there's some amazing war sequences with D-Day and from Saving Private Ryan. All these like really great, like tremendously well shot, well filmed battle sequences. But I'm a sucker for arrows, and I'm a sucker for swords. I'm a sucker for like this period of time. And so it became apparent to me I had to put one on my list. And the more I thought about this, just leaving the theater, all I wanted to do was like get a bow and arrow and a sword, and I just wanted to. I got to train, man. If LARPing had been more popular in 2002,
right?
there's a strong chance that my life might have taken a very different path. I would have been out there at some park dressed like just like a Legolas costume,
Yeah.
firing foam arrows at a bunch of random people that look a little bit like Brody's beard. I don't know. It could have gone a different direction, but it was just so fun. And then the thick 4-volume DVDs came out that you had to switch DVDs. What are we even doing here? So like if I wanted to watch this, I had to put, and I know it's a little bit cheating because this is like not, it's a long, this is what, this whole battle lasts for 3 weeks.
Yeah. And that
but you pick whichever part of the battle you want, whichever part is your favorite. The whole thing was just incredible. It took months to film. They're handing out T-shirts to the extras that say "I survived Helm's Deep." It was just like what a cinematic achievement.
Yeah.
And just a really fun one. If you've never seen the Lord of the Rings movies, do it now before they reboot them. Don't wait. Do it now, and then appreciate the reboot's coming, Dylan. Don't make that face. It's coming. It's not my fault.
No.
I didn't do it. I'm not responsible. Don't get mad at me. It's not my choice.
If it's a TV show, it makes sense. If it makes sense, if it's a TV show.
They're doing the movies. It's out of my hands. But this was great. So
you did the best you could.
I did the best. I tried, guys. I tried.
That's a very good pick, Charlie. Very good.
That's an excellent pick. Excellent pick.
All right, Charlie, should we guess Dylan's? What do you think Dylan's is?
I will be so disappointed if it's not Enter the Dragon.
Sir, I hate to disappoint, so I won't do it. It is Enter the Dragon. This is, as far as I am concerned, the pinnacle of fight choreography. I think that Bruce Lee was a genius, and when it came to martial arts, and I think he is a genius when it comes to cinematic movie like fight scenes choreography. He is the best. And I mean, I'm not saying other people aren't fantastic or geniuses, but the stuff that he was doing, how he made other people look, is unbelievable. And at the very end of this movie, everybody starts fighting, and everybody almost starts fighting him as well, just by himself. And he takes everybody on just about. It is an epic showdown at the end of Enter the Dragon, and it is led up to, but with electrifying fight scenes, not just with Bruce Lee, but with all these other people as well. But in this, at the very end, when everything hits the fan, everybody starts, like, all pretenses are done. Fights are starting, and Bruce Lee is ending every single one of them. Nothing, in my mind, tops this. I have, since I was 6 years old, even if we didn't have time to watch the entire movie, we would fast forward and watch the end of Enter the Dragon, because it was that entertaining and good. And I still, to this day, can do it almost 40 years later, to this exact scene. I mean, it is unbelievable. And anytime I do any kind of fight choreography, I'm influenced by the choreography I've seen, like, and the techniques that he has implemented and all of that. And I watch the behind the scenes things and how he kind of gets the, how he gets, it just gets exactly, I don't know how he does it. It's unbelievable. But this is a pinnacle as far as I'm concerned when it comes to action scenes right here.
All right, two quick things, Dylan. Number one, I'm so glad that you still like this movie. I remember introducing it to you when you were just a youngster, and I wasn't sure if you would enjoy it, but I'm so glad that this has stuck with you for so long, left an impression.
It
Number
did.
two,
It did. Changed everything.
Brody, what's a reasonable like goal for this video? 5? Is 5 good?
What's a what?
If this video can get 5 likes, Dylan will do a 1-minute recreation of this scene for you, the Talk That Punch watchers at home. He will do this he will break down the fight choreography, and in 1 minute he will do his best Bruce Lee impression, and you will be blown away. So smash that
I would like
like.
to say I don't have a Bruce Lee impression. That's cultural appropriation. Very, very, very.
Not a vocal impression. The fight style. Like,
Oh,
fighting,
jeez.
you're doing the choreography, man. Like, you're not impersonating is the wrong word. You're recreation.
What do you think, Tudong? How many likes would it take for you to do this?
3.
How many cameras would it take? 3? Did you say 3? Maybe let's say
Likes.
let's go ahead and say 20 likes.
20
likes.
10.
You guys have no faith in our listeners, and I have lots of faith in them.
All right. Well, if we'd set this at the beginning of the video, then maybe people would be hitting that like button. But now at the end, there's only 3 people left watching. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, time to go out and make 20 new accounts, and I'm going to be smashing that like button.
All right, Dylan, you said it.
Well, speaking of, if you're still here and you're watching this, and you want to see Dylan like we want to see Dylan, taking his shirt off and kicking his legs in the air, hit that like and subscribe, and we will make it happen for you.
You've got the same physique as Bruce Lee, Dylan. It's okay.
I have the same. Oh, of course I do. Yes, you're right. I have the exact same physique. I am probably more like the guy who ate Bruce Lee. He's like more than any. That is probably where I look like
Bruce Lee now, I guess technically.
He passed away before I was born.
Right?
This poor
Maybe you
guy.
can totally take him. So
his corpse is
too
still
soon.
beating
Too soon.
up.
Sorry, too soon, guys. You shouldn't be, Brody. You shouldn't be making jokes like that.
Sorry.
So,
right.
anyways, I was going to say, please let us know in the comments below what some of your favorite action sequences are. Maybe you're a big fan of the bullet dodging scene in The Matrix, or some of the other amazing action sequences that you've seen in the MCU or the DCEU or wherever you like to see your action sequences. Please let us know, and hit that like button. We want shirtless Dylan kicking his legs, and so do you. So let's get that like goal up. We will see you next time here at the TTP.
See you later.